in Los Santos. Wonderful. Good game. Absolutely, very good game. Good ending. Enjoyed it. So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna give it. Well, first I'm gonna talk about what I liked, what I disliked, and then I'm gonna give it my my final score. So, things I liked. The details are so fucking good. Jesus. Like just like the water graphics, things like losing the GPS when you go in a tunnel. What else? The other cars flashing their lights at you when when you're driving toward them in their lane. Things like that. The details were just amazing. There's probably more I'm just not even thinking of, but the details were fantastic. The guns were fun. I like the gun system more, that they don't take away your guns if you get busted. What else did I really like? The driving was a huge improvement over 4. Absolutely. The driving was great. I think this might be the best Grand Theft Auto in terms of driving. In terms of both realism and in how easy it is to drive. It's a good balance. It's not the most realistic, but it's more realistic than, say, San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto 3. But it's a hell of a lot more tight to control than it is in 4, where driving was a chore. So that was great, and that's what Grand Theft Auto was all about, is the driving. The missions were fun. I thought pretty much every mission was memorable. There weren't a lot of stinkers. Like, there was 1 or 2 where just, okay, that mission kind of didn't do anything. But otherwise, the missions were great. I'll check it out in a minute. You will. But the missions were great. What else? Missions. The ending was pretty good. It was satisfying enough. It's pretty much what I expect out of the Grand Theft Auto ending. And I enjoyed it. The story was good too. It was more interesting than 4's. But, I mean, it wasn't, like, revolutionary. Like, it wasn't, like, really intriguing plot, but I'll get to that in my dislikes. But, what else? I mean, that's about it. The soundtrack was good. The graphics were pretty good. Probably still not a huge improvement over 4, but it's more in the details and the design that made me really enjoy the visuals in this game. Now, the things I didn't like. I feel that a lot of the choices, and it's not even just with that final choice, but in general, a lot of the choices are very either limited or arbitrary or not very fun. Like, when I heard that I was going to be doing heists and getting to design some of the heists and doing things like that, and then I get to the heist and it's like, okay, you can choose a couple gunmen and then you get option A or option B, which one you want to do. That to me isn't good. That's not planning a heist, really. Like, I want a game where you can really plan a heist. Like, maybe it gives you 4 or 5 options, and like maybe customize individual parts of the plan, rather than just one big blanket plan, one other big blanket plan. We could go in loud and dumb or quiet and smart. That was kind of silly. It was better than Payday, absolutely. And here's the thing. I've never gotten a really good heist game the way I want it yet. I like Monaco. It's probably my favorite heist game, but it's an arcade game. It's arcadey. It's very on the fly. You can communicate with your teammates, but it's still, it's more of an action on the fly type game. Payday was flat action, like no choice at all. It's just, kill all the cops pretty much. And Payday 2 might be better. I haven't played Payday 2 yet. This, I was hoping for a little bit more with the heist. Same thing with the ending, which we talked about already. They gave me no choice or no incentive to want to choose to kill Michael or Trevor. There's just a very flat plot, very morally unambiguous, or at least like motivationally unambiguous. So there was that. What else? So that was the biggest problem, I think, with the game, is that they could have done more with the heist. They could have given the user more control. Chris Motherfucker would have a lot to say. Well, what else did I dislike about this? It's Grand Theft Auto. Like, they didn't push, I think a lot of ways they did push the series, at least in the details and what they can do with the world. But in the actual game design, it's still your typical missions, in the sense that you go shoot some guys, steal a car, drive away, get from point A to point B. The missions are very, very Grand Theft Auto. Stuff that I've gotten in the previous games. While I think they're more varied in this and they're more memorable overall, there's nothing too forward-thinking in the missions in this. I would like And it's funny that I'm talking about forward thinking because I'm going to talk about the older games, but I would like if they took the approach of an older game where they give you a couple of main areas, like you start the game in one really big city, and then maybe they shift you to another really big city like they do in Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, and kind of like what they did in San Andreas, where you start in one area, you kind of migrate to the different cities plus all the in-betweens. So I love Los Santos in this. I think they did a fantastic job, but I think they could have done a little bit more. Someone mentioned how much money you have too, and yeah, money is no issue in this. And in 2 and 1, if you didn't want to do the missions, you get lots of money just by dicking around. And it's not like that in this. And I mean, if they took more of the focus away from doing things like golf and yoga, which it's a nice detail, but let's be honest, who really wants to go into this game and do yoga over and over and over? You do it once and you're like, okay, well that was cute, and you're done. So in that sense, I don't know. I think they put some of the focus in the wrong areas in that regards. I think that's about it. But what I think of the characters, they were fun. They're very likable in ways. Like I said, it still comes down to it being very morally unambiguous. Like, if for all the people said about Michael and Trevor being complex characters, I disagree. I don't think they were very complex. It's kind of like Michael's an asshole father, but he tries. And then halfway through the game, his family leaves. Then they come back, and he continues to be an asshole father, but everyone's like, oh, Dad, you've changed. But he hasn't. He's just the same guy he was before. Like, I think they could have done more. I just think they could have done more. But, all things considered, I would give this game an 8 out of 10. Which, before anyone tells me it's a shitty score, it's not. It's a pretty damn good score. And I enjoyed the shit out of this game. It's just fun. It brought the exploration back into Grand Theft Auto. It gave it Easter eggs. It made you want to actually drive around and say, what's that and what's this, and want to go explore the goddamn world. And that was my favorite part, because that is what was lacking in 4 to me. But what gets 9 and 10s? Well, I mean, like I said, 8 out of 10 is a really good score. Like, really damn good. It's mostly that, like, I felt there were a lot of wasted opportunities, like in regards to the heists, in regards to some of the choices, and the fact that it just wasn't an extremely forward-thinking game. It's just another Grand Theft Auto. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 on the KY scale is a 9.5 for your average review site score. Yeah. If I had to say buy it or pass on it, I would absolutely say buy it. I'd say it was a great game. It was better than 4. It was better than Vice City, in my opinion. It was better than 3. Better than San Andreas? I don't know. I kind of liked the transitioning world of San Andreas a bit more. And the thing is, San Andreas, for its time, was very forward-thinking, in my opinion. In regards to like, because this gave you choices that you could do yoga and you could do tennis, but it didn't really affect much. You would max your stats, like the useful stats, like that. In San Andreas, though, they had never done that before, and it kind of mattered. If you didn't keep yourself in shape, then you'd be a fat fuck with no stamina. So you'd kind of want to go to the gym. I mean, I wouldn't say it was perfect system, because you'd go to the gym and be like, like, this isn't very fun, even though I guess it's going to keep me in shape. But if you put the time, then it did make a difference in the world. And I feel like San Andreas was a much more forward-thinking game than Grand Theft Auto 5 was. Still an amazing game, don't get me wrong, but it just could have used a little bit more in a lot of ways. It could have, like I said, forward-thinking is the big key term here that I like to use, and I think they could have had more of it. San Andreas was very forward-thinking. I wish they had done the same thing with this. Not be like San Andreas, but to try newer things, I guess. My favorite GTA game, I think, still stands as San Andreas, although this might be a close second, because I enjoyed the shit out of this. I really did. And the thing is, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City and 4 are not as impressive as this was. Like, those games I would probably give like a 7 or 6. but this was fun. This was a treat. This was a varied world that you could really explore and actually want to explore, and you could just waste time in not doing the missions, but when you did do the missions were fantastic too. So that's what I think. Anyone have any questions for me about my review? I think I went pretty in depth about why I feel the way I do. The forward-thinkiness was put into online play. I agree that with multiplayer considered and with functioning multiplayer, it does make the game really good. That might bring it up to an 8.5. But I find the whole character progression, like leveling up your character and getting apartments and things like that, to be pretty artificial. But, you know, people like it. But the big thing that I really liked about multiplayer were the death matches and the races having so much variety into them. Whether you could deathmatch using airplanes, you could deathmatch with cars, you can race in bikes, you can race in whatever you want, and that was fun. And online free roam was okay. I mean, I didn't really like some of the people I ran into, but there are nice touches in the online. Like, I remember one time my best experience online was one guy who I killed on the overworld map just randomly. He came back, he killed me, we killed each other a couple of times, and then the game asked us, would you like to do a one-on-one deathmatch to settle this shit right now? And I was like, yeah! So me and this guy, we have a one-on-one deathmatch. Then we went and arm wrestled, and it was basically this like little rivalry, and it was so nice and fun, and that was great. So the multiplayer might bump it up to an 8.5 out of me, but I haven't done enough of it. That's the thing. That's why it's not fair for me to really add it to my review. So I would stick with an 8 out of 10. But yeah, I enjoyed it. The end.